All right, welcome back to the IndyCar show, Burnout Sports, burnoutsports.com. It is the month of May, and really, as you can tell, the number one thing is, are we going to get to 33 entries? How do we get to 33 entries for the 106th running of the Indianapolis 500? And we are there. It was announced earlier today. Stef Wilson, your 33rd entry. Thanks for joining us. It's got to feel good now that this is official and you can really turn your focus to being inside of the race car.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm over the moon with being able to compete in this historic race once more. And, just the way it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been a lot of work from the end of the race last year all the way through to this announcement. It's been a ton of work, lots of ups and downs, a big roller coaster, like I said, but just relieved that it came together, and excited for the prospects that lay ahead. Lie ahead with the group that we've got involved here between Dragon Speed and Cusick Motorsport and myself. We've all got ambitions to be in the series more often than just the 500. So we're thinking big picture here. I mean, the month of May, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for us, being an 11th hour entry like it is. But we're ready for it, and we're hoping that we can surprise a few people. And at the same time, I think it's just the building blocks, it's the foundation for something more in the future, I think.
I'm going to use this word frustration, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but there had to be some frustrating days where it's going, okay, I've got a great team in Cusick Motorsports behind us. So we've got the money to do this. We're ready to compete. But there was just so many factors, whether it's too many, there's more entries on the full-time grid. So a lot of those one-off mechanics and engineers, they have full-time gigs now, which is good. But just talk about how frustrating the times were, because we heard anything from it could be you, it could be this driver, it could be driver B, driver C. There's so many moving parts, and you're going, hey, I've got what it takes, I've got the talent, and I've got the funding behind me. Let's make it happen. So talk about that frustration and how you kind of work through it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around IndyCar for 13 years now, longer than that, including the time that I spent as just Justin's little brother hanging around the paddock. So it's really been an unusual year. Usually the biggest battle is just assembling the backing and the funding to run a program. And after the 500 last year, Don Cusick and Cusick Motorsports, I can't thank them enough, for the support they've shown in me and the partners that have made it possible and come back. We had the support lined up almost immediately for the year, for the 2022 Indy 500. But there was just so many other moving pieces at that point that, no one was able to lock in. As you said, there's 28 full-time entries now, or 27, 28 full-time entries given the weekend. And it just created this huge strain on the whole paddock. So it made it difficult for other teams to add entries like they could in the past. And something else as well, I think it's just the whole influx of interest in motorsports across the board. In sports cars, they're seeing grids bigger than they've ever seen before. I think there's the Ferrari Challenge Series, Porsche Carrera Cup Series. There's 40 entries, 50 entries in each one. Even in the Road to Indy, huge grids. So it's all those personnel that have the experience, have the skill set to work on an IndyCar in the month of May. They're already tied up. They're already busy doing something. So, that definitely was something that caught us off guard, surprised us. We're really lucky, for all the pieces to come together like they did. I think it was a case of, you had to have the 5 elements. It was a car, equipment, crew, funding, and an engine. And at any one point, we'd get close to having all 5 of those, and then fall short, on one. And that was enough for it to stall out. So, up until about 3 weeks ago, I really wasn't sure that this was going to even be possible, So I'm just thankful that we managed to assemble all those pieces. I think everyone totally underestimates the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. To be in this entry, it's truly. I think I tweeted it out earlier this month or early last month that you could make a reality TV show out of it because there is so much drama. At times, I'm a big fan of the show Survivor. And at times it definitely feels like that. You've got these little voting blocks and building blocks, and you're never quite sure who to trust and who's gonna align with someone else. But I think myself, Cusick Motorsports, we stayed true and just thankful to Dragon Speed for them joining the program, joining the effort. Thankful to AJ Foyt Racing for them to provide us a car, and also to Jim Campbell and the rest of the guys at Team Chevy, because without them, it wouldn't have been possible to get the Chevy engine and for us to go racing. So, really thankful to everyone that came together to make this all possible.
Talk about for fans and people that may not kind of know. I mean, this obviously starts the day after the 500 last year to start looking ahead towards the next one. But a lot of this is you. Like a lot of this, you have partners and you have teams, but a lot of this, I think a lot of these phone calls and you picking up the phone is probably what made the difference. Just talk about what you've had to do to bring everybody to the table. Like you said, there's so many, the 5 factors, and you've got to bring in Foyt and Dragon Speed and Cusick, and probably IndyCar and Indianapolis Motor Speedway probably had a part of it because they won 33 just as much as you want to be a part of this. So my first part would be just talk about getting all those partners to the table. And then 2, was there a discussion with IMS or IndyCar to say, hey, we can be your 33rd entry, but we also want to make sure that we're in the show. So can you cap that at 33? Maybe that conversation happened or not, but you could take it from there, Stef.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't like to talk about too much about how hard I work. It's like everyone is working hard. I know there is probably 7 or 8 other drivers all just battling away. People talk about bumping and bump day and stuff like that. And I think I tweeted out, it's like, bump day is happening right now. There's like 7 to 8 candidates that all want to be in that last spot. Ideally, there'd be more entries, but realistically, it's looking like there's only going to be 33 at the minute. But who knows? Something could come out of left field. So there's so many guys that have a lot of those elements, a lot of those pieces, like we talked about, the 5 elements. And it's just, I can't tell you what makes the difference, honestly. I would like to think that the work that I put in, day out, the phone calls I make, the contacts that I have, the network I have, I'd like to think that helps. I'm just, I couldn't tell you. I'm just very relieved that it's us. I'm excited for the potential that we have in the future to avoid being in this situation again. I think that, with Dragon Speed, with Elton Julian, I've really come to like the guy, and we've got we're already building a kind of a good relationship there, a good friendship, I believe, and I really think that his ambitions really align with Don Cusick's, and together we already have a lot of the elements there, and I could see that following Indy this year, as long as the relationship continues to blossom, then I could see them purchasing a car together and looking at adding races to the program for next year, or at least coming back to the 500. So, I mean, that's the goal long term. They are very clear they want to be part of the IndyCar series. So, I'm very grateful for their backing, or for them to be choosing to do that with me. So, there was it's definitely conversations with IndyCar that took place, and, again, they wanted to see 33. We wanted to be 33, but there were several other drivers in the mix too. So, I think it was about who assembled all the elements to, got those together first. And, fortunately we were able to do that. There's been no conversation about cap in the field, and I certainly wouldn't want that to be the case. I'm not going to be making demands like that, because that's not what the 500 is about, and that's not the history or the heritage of it. It's a challenging race. Qualifying is a part of it. Qualifying to be a part of it is definitely an element that makes the 500 special. So if there's 33 cars, then that's what it is. But if there's 34, 35, then we've got to qualify and deserve to be there.
And we saw Ben Hanley have some really good speed in that car a few years ago. You've obviously led laps at the Indianapolis 500. So, like you said, it just seems to kind of be aligned with what you're looking for with that team. And then Foyt coming in as well. Two things before we let you go. Stef Wilson, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations again on the 33rd entry for the 500. All that we've just talked about, right? It's tough. It's difficult. And it seems like the easiest part, even though it's not easy, is when you put that helmet on. How do you kind of bottle all this up and use it as motivation to go out there and for lack of a better term, kick some ass in the month of May?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of experience now at Indy, and last year, even though on paper it didn't look like we had the best of months, I was really proud to come back after 3 years out of a car, not just out of an Indy car, out of a race car in general. I was coaching, I was doing other work inside motorsport, and my goal was always to come back, but it was just not feasible at the time. So 3 years out of an Indy car to jump in, and on Fast Friday, I think we really showed how fast we were, and the hotter conditions. I think I've seen times we're in the top 10 on Fast Friday. On a full lap average, we were like 6th, 7th or something like that. And then on qualifying day, when it mattered, we didn't put it all together. So, that was disappointing. But otherwise, we had a very productive month. Obviously, race day last year, that really stinged. The way our race ended, finding out later that it was a front brake failure, a master cylinder on there that failed on the front brakes. So, that was definitely a hard pill to swallow, and definitely kind of put kind of tarnished what was a really strong month up to that point. I think we had a really good race car on Sunday, and it was just very difficult to pass, and we were just slowly, methodically working our way forward up until the incident. So, bringing a lot of that experience from me from previous years and what I like to feel from the car, and using that to really elevate our program this year and make sure that we start off in a window that I'm happy with and continue to grow. So, I think we have a potential to surprise a few people. I'm not sure we're going to have the fastest car in qualifying, but I think race car, if there's only 33, we can just focus fully on the race car and try and make sure that we're in the setting ourselves up well for the race day itself. And I think that'll be our focus. So really can't thank all the partners that came on board: Sierra Pacific Windows, Neptune Systems, Lola Sport, Gnarly Jerky, just to mention a few. So it wouldn't be possible without them committing to our program and being part of Cusick Motorsports.
Well, I'm happy for you. I know there's a lot of rumor mills going on, and that kind of adds to the drama of really maybe even forcing a hand a little bit or trying to speed things up. So congratulations. I can't wait to see you out there in a couple weeks at the 500. We'll definitely talk throughout practice weekend and obviously race week. Thanks for joining us here on Burnout Sports, and congratulations above all. It's time to breathe and let's go get them throughout the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing all the fans at full capacity, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway back in all its glory again after the pandemic. And I'm hearing that the sales are just off the charts, higher interest than there was for even the 100th running. So make sure you get there early on race day. That the lines are going to be pretty long. It's going to be exciting to see all the fans there. And like you said, I can't wait to put my helmet on and get strapped in that car and go.
Confirmed earlier today, the 33rd entry for the 106 Indianapolis 500 with Cusick Motorsports, Dragon Speed, and a technical alliance with AJ Foyt Racing. Stef Wilson, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, guys.